Hello and welcome everybody to week 2 of the Battlegrounds League. Right now, we are going to be jumping immediately into game 1. Casting today will be myself, Gormizer, and joining me is going to be M-Target. M-Target, how are you doing today, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. Looking forward to some Slaughterhouse action. We have 87 players in the game today, so a whole lot more. And, then right off the bat, oh, hello, that's quite the shot there. And we're going to see where they all come out. Going to see a northeast to southwest line, it looks like, here. And a decent number of people dropping over Yasnaya Polyana. And there we go as the bodies hit the floor.
I'm actually really surprised to see as many people as we see kind of jump out in that top right. Stalber, the ruins up on the mountain, can have some decent loot and usually cause a little bit of a fight. It looks like people up there kind of looking more for the houses. I saw the name Smithy, which for those who might not recognize it, he's number 1 on the leaderboards right now. He did really, really well last week. He's going to be landing up there as well. It looks like just a couple others pretty much going for houses and maybe a car to try and get somewhere else, go towards that left side of the map, try and get on the west side just to pick up whatever loot they can find, because there's going to be a huge amount of housing over there that is just untouched.
That should be very interesting. A lot of people heading sort of to the east, which is interesting because people say, sort of if you look at all the numbers, people tend to go sort of south, and whichever side of the plane tends to be further south. In this case, was the eastern side of the plane. So that means that especially if the circle, depending on how it pulls, we could see some really early action. And even in Yasnaya, we see, a couple people pretty close to each other, but, opposite buildings makes things a little bit less likely to be right away.
Yeah, especially with the way that the gun loot and drops are going to be. I mean, right here, we're looking at Repus has a frag grenade. And while suicide attempts aren't necessarily uncalled for, when you're trying to climb the leaderboard, that's not exactly the way you want to go. A lot of players in cars driving pretty much run after the other, all of them looking to be heading over towards that northwest side of the map just because no one's going to be over there yet.
Risky.
It's going to be really big.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that are still in the air. 5, 6. Smithy and Datmosen still coming down. Smithy really taking his time. And I like that decision. Again, we saw them do really well, but they're going to find some interesting angles. But again, all those people driving towards Gurgapol going to run into each other, and then they've got to make their way back. And again, this first circle only doing half a tick of damage a second, but that still does add up when you've got you have to cross half the map. There we go.
And they're going to have the benefit, they do have the cars there, but the other thing that kind of leads into it is driving in, everyone's going to know they're driving in. Not a single person who's going to be looting over there is going to be thinking, okay, I'm safe, I have time to pick up guns. Each one of them is going to have the same rush you have when you see someone land with you. It's going to be, I need to get a gun right now, I need to prepare myself, and just do whatever it takes to be able to get the aim that I need and the shots that I have to find to take them down just that tick faster. And right now, it's looking like the circle spawning on the eastern edge of the map, looking like it's going to be more towards kind of like the east-southeast kind of border. Picking up a lot of people, but there's a lot standing outside.
Yeah, we just saw, I commented Datmosen taking a really long time to make it to the ground. He's been on the ground less than a minute and he's dead.
Feels bad, man.
It's unfortunate. Feels bad, man, indeed.
The rest of them, everyone really at this point, just kind of wandering around. What I like is we get to see these angles, and this is the same thing we get to see all the time through spectator modes, is how close these players are right now and how little they know. Of course, I believe Besto right here should be able to hear Izon, should recognize the footsteps, but without boots on, it's going to be making a lot quieter noise, just kind of waiting patiently, knows someone's in the proximity, knows that he can wait. The question is he going to pull out the shotgun or keep out this rifle?
Yep, rifle's definitely going to make... I mean, again, currently in the state of the game, the person that is being pushed has the advantage in the fight just because they know when the person's pushing them, and they have just a little bit of advantage due to the third-person perspective. And we'll see what comes... Oh, actually, he's gonna... Nope, lag. Can he get the push? Missing. He's gonna get shot by Izon, though, and reloading. Gonna try again, and Izon's gonna fly through the air as he falls, so...
It's just another
kill
case getting a little bit aggressive. Of course, once you recognize there's a player there, you know where he is. That's the kind of play I like to make. I like to get aggressive. I like to fight in this game, and when you think you have the advantage, especially there where Izon did get those first few shots off, possibly thinking maybe I can get this out, as a couple going to be fired down, spotted out. Now Snapplecat just looking to try and run away, doesn't exactly know where his opponent is, but does have the advantage. The AK just a little bit stronger overall, and a smoke grenade looking to be thrown out.
I think he's hoping to bait him with the throw. Okay, he threw something. What is it? But nope, not really going to do much there. And Lukash is not. Ooh, that's actually also a bad throw as it's back behind Snapplecat. But that does mean that Snapplecat could run if he wanted to. And nope, he's going to try and stand his ground. He does manage to hit Lukash once. I don't know if he had a helmet on. If he did, then that was a headshot. Otherwise, it may have actually been 2 body shots.
As it sounds, there's a couple more shots going to be fired over there. And I don't know if I saw it, but Lukash didn't look too healthy at the end of that one. The firefight not necessarily going his way. Another player very, very close by, Danny, was taken. Does have vision, saw that the fight was going on, at least heard it no matter what, and with an extended mag, might be able to take a close range fight if he wants to run in.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Again, 1 minute now remaining until the circle starts rolling in. Again, it's relatively low damage at first, but again, we're coming up on that, 5 minutes into the game. It's 1 minute before, from when the plane starts flying, you have 1 minute-ish until the circle then is announced, and then 5 minutes from there. And so players need to start thinking about moving in, especially if they are down towards Sosnovka Island or to the west.
Yeah, the ones that waited it out, especially I'm looking at someone immediately in Primorsk when we saw the map open there. That kind of player, if you don't have a car, even though there's high vehicle spawns, if you are not lucky enough to find one, you need to start running as fast as you can. The circle, it's a little slow, so you don't have to worry too much about your speed going on, but you do have to prepare yourselves. And as we can see, a lot of players already in their cars kind of heading that way, playing it a little bit safer, about 20 seconds until the circle really does start to close down. But then it's going to take a couple minutes until we see it fully closed on the new circle, which will be the safe zone these players are heading towards as we see some AK shots coming down.
In some trouble.
Ting Ting taking some hits, half health. Not sure if he knows where he can hit it. A couple of headshots later and qualifications. Beautiful name and beautiful play gets the kill.
Yep, very lucky though. If he had taken just 1 headshot, he was dead. No helmet on his person, so that's, again, early on, you really want to try and hit those headshots, though. Again, when you're at that angle, high ground just wins so much.
And as we see it kind of play through, again, the AK just a little bit better, usually at range, as we could see. The Scar L on the other side is going to be good, especially if we can get it decked out, but the way that this has been going for these players, it doesn't seem to be going too well. So now it looks like Trut running up with an ump and a shotgun ready to try and take on qualifications. This could actually favor him if he wants to get aggressive. These houses and the walls all around it, as long as he can keep track of the player, might be able to get it. And qualifications doesn't seem to recognize someone is there. The shots!
Unfortunately, this is not real life, so qualifications can keep on walking. Because taking a couple 9mm rounds to the foot, not fun. But good push here, and I do think that Trut needs to do or Trut, I'm not quite sure how you want to pronounce that with the 3 on the end, whether that be an E or a 3, needs to be aggressive here, especially with that shotgun. Has the advantage. He knows that he's hit his opponent and does manage to get the kill right there. So again, you've got the advantage, you've got the push, you've got to take the risk.
Yeah, the peekling shot there really, I think, is kind of what got that. Is it looked like qualifications wasn't too sure. It was very hesitant about whether or not he was going to be pushed and was trying to decide, do I want to try to flank around? Do I want to run around the building, run into the building, do whatever I can to try and separate, add some space between me and him? And that time we see Trut, whatever your name's going to be, how it's pronounced, make the decision, get the shotgun out. And honestly, the full auto spray from the ump actually very helpful in that kind of scenario.
Yep, and we're going to see some more action going on here. Good day, just going to let Keith fly right by. But again, we're going to start seeing people moving towards the circle again. It is closing in. Not the end of the world. We still do see L2P, Lush, Big Matt, etc. over by Gurgapol hanging out. But Yasnaya, we do see that the Alaskan, did just get dropped by Cat Odd. Yasnaya, as well as Rozhok, both very likely locations that we will see some action. Yasnaya, because people have been there, and we will also see the people from Stolber moving in, and then of course Rozhok, because players will be moving in or players who were already there. And Fire 1337, this is the 4th game in a row that we have seen him hang out at the school from the beginning.
And honestly,
but he's alive this time, so not
alive, looted, and doesn't seem to be having much of an issue. I don't know if anyone was landing with him. I mean, school's a hot spot. There's bound to have been other players, but at this point, he's in the circle. He's relaxed. Most people, when they drive by, the immediate thought is, let's go ahead and check out the school. Like maybe someone forgot something. Maybe we can loot it up, or at least try to catch people, especially with this circle coming in as they're trying to get to safety. Some shots going to be throwing down. Mayo, someone we got to see a lot last week. Again, just going to be kind of playing it safe in this car, has the armor, and ultimately he's going to be safe inside the circle now. But a lot of people waiting for him and a lot of opportunities for them to find those kills.
Yep, and there's, again, Trut3, Trut, depending how you want to pronounce it, looking at Fades Gaming. And bit of a long-distance firefight here, AK versus AK. Obviously, Trut with the advantage in this 1-versus-1 because he has the scope and a rock. Fades is bandaging and just hoping that the natural topography will help him out a little bit. Also, all on the hollow site can make things a little bit harder for that fight. So he does decide to try and make the rush. He does manage to make the run to the barn, and he does have a micro Uzi, though Troots does still have that
UMP just sitting on his back, yeah. And at this point, it does kind of, I want to say again, favor Troot just a little bit with the range when it comes down to it, the scope looking a little bit better. Having, I want to say, just an overall grasp of where we're going to be seeing Fades is, but it looks like he's actually going to go ahead and just call for a retreat. Not sure he's going to be able to get too far away without someone noticing, but here we actually see Abyssal Smite doing what players like to do, laying in the grass, but waiting patiently for someone to come just running around, unsuspecting, and he'll be able to find that Fergs right now running pretty much right at him. And with the way that the map is shaped, Fergs probably won't even be able to spot him. Abyssal Smite should have the advantage here, should be able to take some shots, but he looked away at the wrong time. Fergs now at the tree. We'll have a little bit of cover for this fight.
Yep. Oh, nope. Ferg's losing his cover. He's going to keep running up. He has no idea that Abyssal Smite is here. Abyssal Smite should know that he is coming, has somebody running just past him. And, oh, Ferg does turn around, but it is too late. Running with that alt button is great for seeing what's going on, but awful for actually reacting when somebody is close. And Enter FC says, I don't think so, buddy, and takes that hard left turn. But on that motorbike does mean that he needs to be careful, and he's gonna actually get killed there. Nice shot by Abyssal. And now Abyssal has 2 bodies to loot for his pleasure, but Annexed knows that he's there, and then we do have 2 more cars that will cover Annexed's approach.
And a couple more players actually coming in from behind. Josu here should be able to spot Abyssal Smite. Again, both players at this point must have heard the firing. Annex going to be the first one to try and find the shots and is going to be able to find the kill along with it. Probably caught out looting Abyssal Smite. I mean, once you kill 2 players, you think you're safe, but the 2 in the circle who are taking the tick damage right now are going to start fighting. That's going to draw attention to themselves, and the shot's going to be fired. Annexed with a superior position and a lot of loot for him. If he can make it out of here, he is going to be ripe for the picking.
Yep, Hung is going to get a couple shots off, but again, taking a non-trivial amount of damage now. It is up to 0.75 as the circle has locked, so we are into circle 2 numbers now. That's 1.5 damage every 2 seconds, 15 damage every 20. Again, doesn't sound like it's that much, but it does add up over time, especially when his opponent has an M16. So he needs to be careful about that, but obviously this may be a maybe not a hugely important fight, but they're, again, neither of them are near the next circle, so whoever wins this fight then has to make it into the circle, which is not a awful distance away, but is also still very crowded. Also, Edgar Allan Pug in the area, still doing some looting. I don't expect to see him come to the fight. We do see another fight, though, occurring a little bit further north. We do have Chlotwaf, and I missed his name.
Zwiro.
Zwiro, yes. Oh, yes, we saw Zero do pretty well last week as well. So let's see if Zwiro can win this fight with the push. And nope, Zwiro was not prepared for that, and so I don't think Chwat was either. He's expecting to be further out, and now, ooh, he's in trouble, and Chwat is going to get the kill there.
Just a couple of bullets off when it comes down to it. I mean, Zwiro, at that point, if he had hit maybe one more shot just up at the higher body, maybe even just a headshot at that point, would have been enough to kind of down it. Just the 1 tick difference, I want to say, between the peeking and the aggression that we saw come out of it as we kind of peek around Fairy Tale of Sin in a house again, and very close to him is Mr. Hitman. Both of them bound to find out the other is there pretty soon, as I see a couple of players kind of collapsing in on these buildings. They are in the middle of a field, and they're going to be safe, at least from the unsuspecting eye. And as we see this come out, I expect to see some fights coming through. J Snipes going to be laying around as well, just patiently waiting. This is going to be some of the things that we are kind of used to seeing players, especially once they're in the circle. They're looted up enough. They just want to wait it out. They don't know exactly where the next circle is going to be. There's no reason for them to get too aggressive and risk losing their lives just because of it as we kind of go through. I actually see Texas got killed off just a second ago. He was going to be, I think, number 6, did win a game last week. So getting taken out before top 50, going to be a little rough for him.
Yep. Speaking of a little rough, again, we see Fairy Tale of Sin. He did pretty well last week. Not amazingly, but I do believe he currently is in our top 10. I think he knows that Mr. Hitman is there, or somebody is there. Compact Stunts, he may have a general idea that there's somebody behind him. But also, thought for is that we have L2P Lush, who has been sitting outside the circle this entire time, and he is somebody who has done very well, but also does like to play the circle game. And then Real Napalm, the guy who died to the circle in top 20, top 15, I think, actually, in our first game, because he was so far away, and he spent way too much time party rocking out in the electric blue.
I don't know what the call is over there. Maybe it's okay, a lot of people left this when the circle came through. I can loot up whatever they missed, or what's going on with him, at least mentally over there. But we saw Machine Gunner do that kind of play last week.
Shane.
We actually saw that come through as the shot's going to be coming through. Not going to be able to find the first shot, but both players are now aware of the other. With the double barrel, the reload going to go out forward, but I don't think he knows where he went. He doesn't feel safe anymore. And upstairs is going to be...
I don't think I would be either.
A very comfortable spot for Baka Bryce here.
Oh, okay. We are going to see a bit of a reset here. Dead Beef is keeping an eye on Shane there. And he does have that M4, though looks like he may actually not have any rounds outside of that. Nope, there's the reload. Okay. So, but he, is Dead Beef going to just sit and wait? He's in the circle. He doesn't have to go anywhere.
And honestly, with the advantage Shane, upstairs, too.
Do you push? Yeah, especially because of this advantage. Shane's going to try and grenade in. Again, it's certainly a good compromise here, but it's risky, and he doesn't find anything, and he tells Dead Beef that he is still there. There's still very much somebody around. I'm not sure about the running away position, because that shotgun is definitely the best option for him, as we see X-Besta using a first aid kit all the way over there. Again, playing that electric slide. Real Napalm's going to make it into the circle this game, guys. Everybody applaud.
Waiting for him right there in the town, though, is going to be Katie Cakes, who I think took number 2 overall. Definitely in the top 10 pretty much every game. Very consistent player, very decent as well, and able to find the shots. Doesn't look like we're going to see the fight come through. Looks like Katie Cakes is just going to be kind of relaxing where it's safe. But Real Napalm finally makes it inside the circle. And other than Machine Gunner, who is still outside the circle in a boat currently, most of the players, Gazrilla also going to be outside, are going to be in the current safe zone. Not too long until the circle starts collapsing, though, so they're going to have to move fast.
Definitely, and this is definitely where circles start to get a little bit dicey. Again, we're still almost, this is technically circle number 2, so it's just, 0.75. Actually, this did just lock, so that means we are now into the 1 damage per second. So... into the scary moments. We see Shane is still hunting Dead Beef. He is upstairs trying to see if he can see Dead Beef through the windows. A little bit risky, but it's at the same time, he doesn't have to go anywhere. Although now he does, but he knows that Dead Beef has to go through him.
And with the patient, the shot's actually going to get fired. He wants to find the kill. He wants to get Dead Beef, because there's nothing worse than recognizing, especially in a minute and a half, if these players are still locked like this, Shane has to make the decision. Do I take the circle damage, depending on his meds? That's going to be an option. Or do I just have to sit here or try and run while Dead Beef is knowingly behind me? And with Dead Beef having the cover he has right now, it looks honestly like it's just a superior position overall. Enough windows to peek pretty much everywhere he would want, as well as having the stairs to his advantage. Shane would pretty much need to find the perfect grenade, which I saw a few on his belt still. He might have that opportunity, but it looks like he wants to get aggressive. And now we actually have a couple of vehicles driving past here. It doesn't look like anyone's going to want to stop, though.
I wouldn't either. Just, again, roll it. Just, there's no reason to stop here. There's absolutely. Maybe people inside. There might be loot, but at this point, you should be looted well enough that you just want to keep rolling and find something. Especially because those cars are parked the way that they are. You know that something at least went down.
And usually, of course, like you said, with the way that they're parked and the way that you see that, once you know something went down, one person had to live through it. There's not going to be many chances that you're going to see both players kind of kill each other. It can happen, but it's very, very rare here. So it actually looks like Fairy Tale of Sin recognizes someone is near him, must have heard some footsteps, going to be aiming a grenade, going to throw it out right down the stairs, though. So Keith should recognize Fairy Tale of Sin, knows he's around, but doesn't quite have eyes on him.
Yeah, so we'll see. Again, a lot of shenanigans going on.
Mr. Hitman is
sort
still
of
around
across
here
the map. Yeah, Mr. Hitman and Fairy Tale have been in this little dance of death for a little while. They definitely both know they're there. Are we going to see Mr. Hitman go for the other people in his line of sight? Very possibly. Again, circle starting to close here. Machine Gunner driving in from Milts of Power. He's somebody that we saw do pretty well last week. Had some rough patches in the middle, but
I have to say, looking at the map, we've been checking in with them on and off. Dead Beef was alone in that last little glance. Dead Beef, I think, was finally able to kind of close out what he had. As you said, the circle now starting to close. Edgar Allan Pug on the outside. A couple of other players having to run in there. Machine Gunner got out of his boat into a land vehicle, is now driving towards the circle, has been outside this entire time. I need the loot that these players get. I never have enough meds to play the way that they do, and I have no idea where they get it.
I can't prove this, but I'm convinced, and this included when I ran the games last week, as we do see a kill come through here really quickly. Nice fight from Pazuka getting the kill around a poke. But I was convinced, again, I was running one of the games early on, and I set everything to default. But I was convinced more people there were more level 3s, there were more meds, there were more backpacks, like level 3 backpacks, than I ever find in my games. I was just like, I'm convinced that custom games just get more loot.
And
I can't prove it.
I can say I know there's settings for that, but I also know that we don't tweak any of those for this. So exactly. It has to
like
just
I said, even when I ran
pure luck.
Yep. So Ambition really on the edge of the circle here. Actually going into the circle here, taking that chunka.
I like that play because I feel like he didn't realize how close the circle was, ran out, took the tick damage, and just had that wait moment, and then decided to run back. Although now running,
he's saying, "Forget it. I need to take this damage," because he knows that there's stuff going on. He who dies running past two people who are in their own firefight, he goes, "Oh God!" And then he's going to turn around and say, "Oh hello, aren't you choosy?" As he just chomps him right up, and he who dies gets a nice kill there. Oh, but then he announced himself, and there's still one more person in the area, and he has no clue where they are. And honestly, I'm not quite... Oh, there he is. Gazrilla announcing himself, and he kills Hippie Lettuce, actually, and Gazrilla is incredibly low. Look at that. 1 HP. Con Games is looking at him, and Gazrilla probably trying to heal up. Yep, there we go. Full med kit, just like that. He says, nah, I'm good.
Now just waiting patiently. Car out up against the SKS. Gonna hit harder, but not quite as fast. Con Games did throw some nades there. So he knows Gazrilla is in the area, and Gazrilla just gonna peek with the 2x, gonna make it a little bit harder to see, a little bit harder to hit the headshot.
Gets clipped.
And ultimately he's gonna be taking a hit because of it.
Yep. Con Games is saying, I know where you are. And Gazrilla's like, dude, I was spending time outside the circle just for this. I am looted.
And with this, I mean, he's going to be able to kind of patiently wait here. I mean, Gazrilla with the level 3 helmet can take a hit to the head as well. So Con Games really has to be on point. With the SKS, he could kind of spam fire, get the shots out as fast as he wants, but it looks like he may or may not be making a retreat, running towards other players, or at least trying to get a reposition against Gazrilla to get some shots off, but kind of exposing himself backwards. If anyone looks over here, he's just wide open in the middle of the hill. Gazrilla doesn't seem to be able to find him. The circle starting to close in on him.
Wow. Con Games got that, but he's going to die to the circle. It's going, I mean, it's 1.5 damage per second. He's only got bandages. He's going to try to use his first aid kit. I think he's too low. He's probably going to die.
Sick.
And yep, just like that. Didn't just quite have enough.
A couple of times.
Again, 6 seconds, 1.5 damage per second. You've got to have a little bit more than that. And so he is going to fall, and Gazrilla's going to just kind of be like, it's a fadeaway consolation prize.
Has almost had it. I believe he actually, I mean, I saw some cancels come out before that. It just wasn't quite able to get the full heal off. Had he just kind of stuck with it, might have been able to make it. A few other players
he went bandaged before first aid. If he had gone first aid straight, he would have had a shot. We do see Good Day just hauling in, trying to survive. We see Trip 2K here shooting at, I can't quite read the name. And he's falling. Luckily, you don't take too much fall damage in a car. And Trip 2K gonna jump down and look at all those red bars. Everybody needs to take a break and heal up. Good Day running for his life. Nope, he's dead. That's a bad day.
Middle of the field, worst place to get caught out. Trip 2K here, actually going to be right over the caves. This is the tunnels. This is one of my favorite places to kind of go, and a good place to find loot. And as you can see, he's looted up just well. Gets the shot, not able to get the full kill just yet, but
there we go.
Should be able to pull that out no problem. Recognizes Rhino Main is in the neighborhood as well. First aid kit going to come through just to get a little bit of health back, but ultimately this is going to be the fight. Trip 2K knows there's enemies nearby, but he's going to fall down. That's a long-range shot from L2P.
Yeah, L2P got that with the Car 98. Oh, all of a sudden, we're down to 11, and this is the glory of some of these smaller circles, is it really quickly just rushes right down, and now we get into the fun part of the game. L2P, Lush, Raptor to Raptor, Oddcat, Smithy. We saw all of these guys last week, and doing well consistently. Sergeant Hatake, I believe, is new. Kavorska, I know I didn't see at least do well. He may have had a rough time. And oh, look at that. Smithy has that suppressed Scarl, but not getting the shots he's looking for. So
unfortunately,
Hatake running for his life, hitting him there, but not quite what he needs. This is a moment where you just need to stop and just take your shots. Yeah.
It's not going to give away his position. Clipped one hit is all it takes. He does have a car on his back as well, but Smithy seeming to kind of lean towards that. I don't want people to know where I am just yet overall, as Sergeant just kind of running around. Doesn't know where he was getting shot from, but is healed up. Going to start running away. Smithy, again, open with the ability to kind of shoot at him. This is just a wide open field. Not exactly the position you want to be in.
Going down there. Now we are into our top 10. Again, everybody gets points based on how well they do. And then from there, it's how many kills you get in addition. One kill is 1 point. So top 5 is definitely what I would call in the money. Top 10, though, is certainly not bad if you're trying to place over the long term. And so, especially consistently here. And L2P Lush is hiding out in that concrete shack, and he is going to start taking some shots here at guy named KJ, and he is going to fall. Raptor to Raptor taking down Oddcat with a micro Uzi of all things. And L2P Lush is in a bit of trouble. He's going to get chunked here, but so is Smithy. And Smithy does not have time to look. He knows that there's somebody there, but Smithy needed to get out of the circle. And Lush says, I see you. Goodbye. 7 left.
For Smithy going to get taken down there. I'm not sure if he recognized someone was in there. The way that he played that last little bit, it seemed like he didn't think. I think he was going towards the shack, trying to get cover, then realizes at the last second, this isn't in the circle, runs away, and Lush with the heal is going to be able to kind of survive that one. Sergeant Solo, Raptor to Raptor, has a nice position here to be able to kind of see a few of the players as it goes through. Not in the circle, though. Going to be forced to move here in about a minute. Does have a car behind him, but as we saw last week, that's not exactly the safest thing for you, especially in these later circles.
Lush popping Fairy Tale of Cinda with that Car 88 that we were just talking about here. To note now, the circle is doing 5 damage per second. You need to be almost half health to survive that with that 6-second timer on the first aid kit. So definitely need to not touch the circle if you are one of these last 6 players. L2P playing the please don't see me game as he just lays prone. Really scare Rhino too much.
All right, now Mr. Hitman does have a pretty decent position, not only in the circle, but Lush has no clue that this is what he's going to be aggressing into. And he's been sitting in this house for quite some time right now, and it looks like Lush going to be choosing possibly a different building. Raptor to Raptor going to be making it in. Sergeant going to be running around as well, but with this low health, he has to make this move. Once he's in, that's going to spell it. We're now in the top 5.
So there we go, 5 left, so definitely in the money now.
Kavorka going to be waiting behind this double AR with the assault rifle. I mean, he has the AK as well as the Scar, going to be taking some shots, full auto, but he's going to be able to find Rhino Main. Not exactly the most accurate, not the cleanest kill, but it doesn't matter because he comes out on top. 4 people left, 3 of them pretty much within 30 feet of each other.
Yeah, Raptor to Raptor, Mr. Hitman, L2P Lush, all having an assault rifle of some kind, +1. Raptor to Raptor, I believe, was the person I saw that just had a micro Uzi out, which is not awful at these ranges. Yes, he does have that, but at the same time, I don't know if I really want one when I'm top 4. So this could be really dicey. Circle doing a lot of damage now. You really don't want to touch it, or you are 100% dead here. And with the circle getting ready to close in 40 seconds, this is especially just because everybody's outside of it, and they're gonna have to do some dancing around things because vaulting isn't in yet. Gonna be interesting to see how this goes. L2P Lush thinking that he's okay. He's the closest of these three players. He may actually even be just inside the circle, depending on which direction he steps. And behind him, there is our lone member who is really playing the circle because he has no idea where they are, while these three guys are obviously hanging out there. And Kavorka, again, if these three guys just kill themselves right now in a fight, then he wins. So there's nothing wrong with playing the circle and playing careful.
I feel like Raptor to Raptor has spotted or recognizes that there's going to be players around the house right now waiting patiently for Lush. Mr. Hitman as well starting to move. None of them have spotted each other. They don't have a visual confirmation, but now they have audio confirmation, as we're going to see some silence shots thrown out right now. Lush waiting patiently for someone to peek, but no one's going to peek. Hitman going to get caught out, turning around, looking for it, and Raptor to Raptor going to be able to get that. The micro Uzi, like you said, at this range, going to be good, but Lush returning that one immediately. Kavorka, though, he's the only one in the circle. He has the advantage. He knows where Lush is.
Indeed. He does get clipped by that, and just like that, Lush says, hey, you took a bit of damage. I'm going to take advantage of that. And L2P Lush with 9 kills, that was loud, does get the W. And a lot of names you recognize. L2P Lush, Raptor to Raptor, Mr. Hitman, I believe we saw before. Rhino Main, Smithy taking 8th. Hey, it's points. I'll take it. Guy named KJ sounds familiar. You know, Oddcat, you know, good top 10 there. So we'll see how that goes. Going forward. Again, some people didn't do quite as well, as you can see the numbers rolling through there.
The one that kind of catches my eye is a lack of Katie Cakes. I believe she made top 10 pretty much every game last week. She didn't even make it that as far this time. I believe Reptar won. I just saw kind of down there. Currently at number 10, not making it as high place as they won. That's just kind of showing. I mean, last week we didn't have quite as many players when it came into it. We were hovering around that 47, 48 mark. So it was maybe a little bit easier for some of these players to kind of get through those first initial circles because there wouldn't be as much of a hectic grab for these weapons. But as we saw right there, kind of towards the end, is that that's not going to be the case, especially with the amount of players we have right now. And with that, I believe we'll be taking just a little bit of a short break as we kind of wait patiently and go into the next game here as we get ready for game number 2. So we'll throw it to a BRB screen and get that one set up.